Okay, and welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a Dyson V11. As you can see from the label, there's a trigger issue for this. We're going to now start to disassemble this unit and get down to the trigger. What you're going to need is a Phillips #1 and a T8 Torx screwdriver. Let's go ahead and pop that tab first. Okay, what you want to do is wedge your screwdriver between this connector here. Get a little bit of leverage, and then you want to flick fast. And try again. Try again. And if that doesn't work, try the other side. Sometimes you're going to damage a little bit of the connector, but it's these two prongs with these holes is where the connector goes in for your accessories or your attachments. Get some leverage behind it, and let's try it again. There we go. Okay, that comes out. Okay, and then there's a tab right there. You push that out and just pull away. Okay, that's done. Now we've got 4 Torx T8s around here. Four screws are out. Now all you do is, now that we've got this connector out, the black connector, and the wires are free, it'll come out. This piece will come out now. Okay, there you go. It's quite dirty, so we're going to do a good clean on this one as well. You can see the unit. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to break away. Actually, before we do that, let's shrink tube. And inside it, you'll see there are a couple round washers, almost like, but the thickness of a bearing. Be careful not to cut the wires. Okay. That pulls away. So what I like to do is I want to make sure that the wires are away, and I'll cut along the side here. We're going to push this back. Just kind of work it. What I like to do now is pull one out first, because it's going to be tough to pull both out together. And that's how they come out. And then we're going to do it again. Okay. And now I'll do it one more time. This is out. And that's out. Put that to the side. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to pull this off. And before we do that, we need to unscrew 3 screws here. Again, it's a T8 Torx. One, 2, 3. Now, you can see all the dust, dirt, and debris sitting inside this area. Sometimes what happens is it kind of builds itself in between the seams and creates almost like a temporary glue. What you want to do is I grab it like this and use this finger here to push against the unit or that mesh screen and just kind of work it. And you're going to have to massage this a little bit to break all that gunk up. Okay. Sometimes you can use a flat screwdriver. Just kind of pry it up in there. Okay. Okay, you can see now it wants to give a bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to rotate it like this and putting pressure on it in different directions. So as you can see, I'm doing that right there. Okay, doesn't seem to want to go. Okay, so what I've done is I've stuck my finger in and kind of pushed up on it, and now you can see it's created a bit of a gap here. So that's kind of breaking the seal. You can throw a little flat screwdriver in there. Okay. And again, once you get that break in it, you usually once it'll go. I've got a pry tool here. Okay. And again, you can use a flat screwdriver. Yeah, there's heavy buildup in between here, so it's quite thick and hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wedge my pry tool in between just to kind of break that dust seal. Okay. Now it looks like we've kind of got an opening to make a little bit of headway here. If we don't, we're just going to have to keep working back and forth. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we've broken it away from the piece. Okay, and this is really, really sticky, so I can understand why it hasn't been given. There's no give in it. Okay, take that seal off for the canister. Okay, now we got 4 screws in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And you can see now why we cut that piece of heat shrink and pulled out those bearings, because that bearing won't fit through here. What they do is they put all these pieces in and then they sleeve these on, and that prevents suction for the wires coming through back into the system. Okay, now what we're going to do is we've got these pieces out. Now we're going to start to take out the back portion of it so we can remove the cyclone. And it's going to be a Phillips number 1. I use a Phillips number 2, but it has a tapered edge on it. There's 2, and those are going to be right here. 1, 2, and then you have 4 screws to remove right here. The holes are exposed. 1, 2, 3, 4. can sew this up. Okay, now we'll continue with, try to keep a clean work area when you're doing it. It always helps. Okay, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Phillips screws out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece right here, which is the bin runner, and just work it out. There you go. You can see how this all accumulates dirt and dust over time. Then we use a pry tool here. There you go. One side done. And then the second side is easier once you get the first side done. Okay, now you can see on the inside here that the wires are soldered into the circuit board. What we want to do is we're going to leave this alone. Okay. Just make sure everything's okay. Now what we want to do is remove that harness right here. And that's for the control module. I'm going to use my plastic pry tool, my trusty plastic pry tool here. Try to just get the corner of it. That doesn't work. There you go. Basically what I've done is the wires come into the harness and just on the top there's a lip, and I just basically go like this. So I'm not prying on the wires itself. The wires are extremely thin. Now I'm going to pull this back a little bit to get exposure to the screws for the negative and the positive. They're T8 screws. Okay. That to the side. Put that to the side. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our trusty needle nose pliers and we're going to kind of get in there like so. Make sure you don't catch the harness, because if you start to pry on that, you're going to end up tearing it. Okay, and then what we want to do is just start to push away from you. As you can see, I've straightened it out. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. Move this harness away again. Take your time doing this, because the last thing you want is to tear the harness. This wire is super, super thin. Okay. And then we're going to go again and we're going to rotate towards us to straighten it out. As you can see, now we've straightened it out. Okay. You can see they're straight for the positive and negative terminal. Make sure your battery is out. This is key. Okay, now what we're going to do is everything is unscrewed, and you can start to work this. So hold it here and push. It'll come off that seal. And that seal, it was just stuck to that because over time it's, rubber will heat up and just kind of adhere itself naturally to plastics. So it's just from over time. It's nothing that the factory has done. Okay, now you've got two screws here. 1, 2. Both are Torx T8s. We're going to go from the inside here. And again, this really, really helps when you have a 6-inch bit or screwdriver, a long reach. Remember, it's called a long reach T8 Torx screwdriver. Okay, that's out. Put that to the side. Let's get organized here a little bit. Get all this stuff out of the way. All right, now this fitting is sitting on two screw posts that are sticking out, which are a part of this part of the body. What you want to do is take a flat screwdriver, look in the back here, and start to work it. You'll start to hear a little bit of a creak. You don't want to hear a crack. Okay, just slowly work it from both sides. Okay. And there are two hook tabs here that go against the body. But you'll see that if they're disengaged. Okay. You just keep working it. And we've got it loose. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingers here, or my one of my fingers, my middle finger or my index finger here. I'm going to push down. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and start to, and I'll just pull like this, and it came out. You can work it however you want. Essentially, the goal is to get these wires out of this. Now there's a screw in the bottom. Right here in the back. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it's right in the back. It's about 4 inches deep, and it's located about right there. Okay. Again, it's a T8 Torx. Comes out. Take our trusty needle nose. You're going to grab one of these posts for where the battery gets connected to. Good grip on it. And you're going to give it a good tug. And again. And there you go. Okay. That one was a little bit stubborn. Make sure that these are okay. All right, and that's exactly what it looks like. Okay, and we're going to put these to the side here. When the battery plugs in, I'll show you the mechanics of it. When the battery plugs in, what happens? Watch what happens to the switch. there was an issue with the unit and why the trigger was so shallow, because it should be naturally about here, about right there. But what's going on is when you go to pull the trigger, it's doing that because of the brake right there. Okay. So we're going to take this out. Don't do this. Try not to do that at home. This is just for demonstration purposes so you understand the mechanics of it. And then you're going to use your flat screwdriver. Just pop that out. Pop that out. Pop this out. This comes out. Okay, you can see, again, if I just do that, you can see the brake. It was broken right here. And that's where they tend to break. We're going to go ahead and put this in. And again, it's just reverse engineering. Easy. Okay, now we're going to load it with the spring. All right, that's done. Now let's feed this back in. Straighten out your harness a little bit. Don't tug on it too much, but just kind of massage it into, so it's kind of looking like, so it looks like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fish it through. You can see the harness has already popped out and we're not even in yet completely. And then what you want to do is sometimes the posts inside, or the positive and negative, will want to hit the edge. Just be very careful and gentle. Just give it a little bit of a nudge so it goes through the direction there, through the hole. Okay. Now we push that back in. And then I'm going to use my trusty T30 Torx bit, which is quite large and round. I'm just going to use a little bit of force to push this back into place. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to push these out of the way. Let's test it just to make sure there's no fitment issues. There you go. Everything looks nice. Pull that out. Now what we need to do is now we need to take this and put it back. Okay. So it's going to go through here and out. Again, I'm going to use the harness as the leading. And then I'm going to go ahead, and as I push this, I'm going to just push down on it and massage it in. Okay, we're through. And now we're going to go here, set this pack back on the post. Okay, make sure everything's nice and snug. We're going to go ahead and set the screw in place in the back because it's kind of hard to screw it right away. You want to get it started at least, or get it in the hole. There's one done. Now we get the other one here. Okay. Now I need to put the motor back. So again, it's got to go through this hole here. The cables need to go through here. And then we're going to take this harness here and feed it under the cover, lift up. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll just leave it as so for now. And we're going to bend these back into their 90-degree form. There's one. And there's two. Now we're going to go ahead and reconnect the posts here. Or the terminals, I should say. Like so. Now we're going to pull this back. We're going to reconnect the harness for the control. You can see it goes in quite easily. Just clicks into place. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure there's no issues here. And we're going to snap the cover, the protective cover, back into place. Okay, so what I did was when I snapped the cover, I can see the black wire that's hitting against the white cover here. We're going to take the cover off again. Okay. Let's try that again. That's clear and free. And that looks good. No pinched wires, no gaps. Everything is looking good. Make sure everything's lined up properly. I use a little bit of force in the back and kind of pinch it between the two. Make sure there's no issues and no play. We're going to go ahead and put these T8 Torx bits or the screws back in. Two of them. Okay, don't forget, like I almost did, this screw here, which goes down into the back. Okay, now let's test this unit quickly. Temporarily put the battery back in. Put the filter back in. And there you have it. We got it working. And you can see how that trigger is now about twice as far out as it was before. Okay, and there you have it. That's how you put a new trigger system back in place for a broken one. Thank you for watching. Please share, comment, like, and subscribe.